You're watching NFL Daily here on Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. He is Tom Downey. Lots of NFL news and rumors to get into on today's show, Tom. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Is Cam Newton returning this week?
Sounds like that's going to be the case for the Patriots. He's been activated from the COVID-19 list. He is expected to practice on Thursday once the Patriots return to practice, which puts him on pace to start Sunday, and that is a very big deal for New England because the backups were trash.
I don't know about you guys. I don't need to see Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham anymore.
You underestimate the comedy factor.
I'm old enough.
Everyone does.
I'm old enough to remember when we were all convinced they're going to roll with Jarrett Stidham. Well, he's not very good, Tom.
If the Bears had traded for Newton, maybe they would have rolled with Stidham. How crazy would that have been? They would have been tanking for Trevor after all. Look, this is a substantial upgrade at quarterback, or I guess re-upgrade at quarterback for the Patriots. Cam Newton, I included his rushing touchdowns because those should count for touchdowns when we discuss quarterbacks in general. Jarrett Stidham's numbers are so bad.
He was bad when it came into that
He
game.
was set up for failure.
To be fair, Julian, one of those picks, Edelman just dropped it, and it got returned for a touchdown. But he's clearly not ready. Cam Newton's played some good ball this year.
Much better.
Missed the one game with coronavirus and kind of lucked out, and this game got pushed back to Week 6 as they're going to take on the Broncos here. We'll see if Drew Lock's going to play in that one. I think he was a full participant
He was
today.
a full participant, so Denver should have him. However, they might not have Melvin Gordon in this one, Harrison, because he got himself arrested for DUI and also speeding on Tuesday night.
The year is 2020, and people are still getting DUIs, especially rich, famous athletes who can call Uber very easily. This is a bad look for Gordon, bad situation for Denver, and there's some potential contract ramifications here if Denver chooses to take him.
Yeah, so and it might not even be a Denver choice. The way this is set up is that suspensions void guarantees.
Okay.
DUI arrest would be subject to NFL discipline, fine, suspension, all of that. He has a $4.5 million base salary guaranteed for next year. If the NFL suspends him, that gets voided, and Gordon struggles down the stretch, Denver would be like, you know what? We're just going to cut you. Your contract is voided. There's no more guarantees. We're going to let you go. And they ran into something similar last year with Kareem Jackson, who had a DUI, but he played very well, so they kept him. I think Denver plans on keeping him, but this is like come on, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, and by the way, Gordon's ran pretty well for Denver this year. Was able to ice that Jets game away a couple of weeks ago. I'll say this, though. Like I said, the year's 2020. If the NFL is serious about taking these matters serious, he should get at least a one-game suspension.
Yeah.
Like, DUIs are a big deal. Like, be smart,
not that hard.
Make good decisions. Not that hard to follow basic laws in this country. What is also a good decision, wear a face mask, do your part. Melvin Gordon's being an idiot right now. You don't have to be. Go to chatsports.com/stay safe. Fans are starting to return to games, Tom, which is fun. It's exciting. Here's the deal, though. You got to wear a face covering to enter an NFL stadium. Got to wear one to go to the grocery store. Go to chatsports.com/stay safe. That link is in the comments. It's in the description. You guys have probably noticed a couple of new style face coverings as well. A lot of new 2-packs for all 32 NFL teams, and a lot of these are on sale as well. Chatsports.com/stay safe. That link is in the comments. It's in the description. If you're watching live, it is also in the live chat. Tom, tell us about this trade between the Titans and the Jags.
When trades happen, we talk about them, folks. Now, Titans linebacker edge hybrid Kamala Correa had requested a trade, I think it was yesterday, because he was upset about his playing time. Denver's like, you know what? Hey, Titans team are like, hey, we'll try and find you a partner. They found one with a division rival in Jacksonville. Jacksonville gets Correa, a 7th-round pick from Tennessee, and a 6th-round pick goes to Tennessee as a result. So get your votes in here, folks, as to who won the trade. TEN for the Titans, JAC for the Jags. For a player that Tennessee basically said, hey, we're going to cut him if we don't get him, giving up what's probably going to be a very late 7th-round pick, what's probably going to be an early 6th-round pick, not that bad of a deal. Also, it is a little bit weird to me that Jacksonville's adding a player on a 1-year deal when they are bad.
Yeah, not only they're bad, they're kind of intentionally bad, right? Like they traded everybody this offseason to get as many draft picks as possible. Poor Gardner Minshew isn't getting much help around him. But yeah, look, you get a 6th-round pick to move on from this guy. That's always a good deal in the end. And like Tom said, no matter how big, no matter how small the trade is.
Well, maybe how small. Size matters, Harrison.
Yeah, size does matter. That's what I've been told. We're going to cover it here on Chat Sports, 100% free. Hit that subscribe button. We got trade rumors, trade news. We got Le'Veon Bell destination videos because the Jets moved on from him last night. We cover it all here on Chat Sports. So hit that subscribe button. Help us out. We just crossed 200,000 subscribers. The chase for 300K began yesterday. Let's continue this momentum. Help us out. We would greatly appreciate it. How about Carlos Dunlap? Speaking of trades here, could this be on the horizon, Tom?
I think at least should be considered by the Bengals. So the Bengals demoted Carlos Dunlap from a starter to really defensive end number 3 behind Sam Hubbard and Carl Lawson. They did so by updating their depth chart, and apparently they forgot to tell Dunlap, the coaching staff did.
Uh-oh.
He was not happy, said he would think the common decency would be to tell me.
Well, he's been around for a while.
He's been around for a long time, and he did not take kindly to that reveal. And not as a result, but as expected here, Dunlap played his lowest snap percentage of the season against the Ravens, 46%. Did have a sack, by the way. But look, I get why the Bengals want to feature Lawson and Hubbard more. They're young. They're actually pretty good. You want to get them on the field. Dunlap is still a good football player. So if you're the Bengals, and you know full well Hubbard, Lawson are the future, you are a bad football team, wouldn't you trade him?
Try and get like a third? Yeah.
Maybe a fourth? Yep. I think you could get maybe it is a late day 2, early day 3 draft pick.
Yep.
In exchange for Dunlap, there are teams that are desperate for pass rushers. Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle.
I think Dunlap, I think the Bengals should explore trading him. He could still bring you back a return. I know that's not typically how the Bengals organization is run, but also you would think that maybe Dunlap's okay with it because he wasn't a huge fan of more or less getting benched/demoted.
And maybe he's ready for a fresh start and wants to win for a change. So should the Bengals trade Carlos Dunlap? Type T for trade him. Type K for keep him. Go ahead and cast your votes in the comments section. Oh, Michael Thomas. He looks like the next diva wide receiver in the NFL, Tom. He hasn't played since week 1 despite being healthy this past week.
Yeah, what happened this past week for Michael Thomas and the Saints was got into a fight with a teammate. And the Saints didn't, I'm going to say suspension, but that's not accurate, didn't discipline him because of the fight with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but because afterwards he talked back to coaches and didn't want to deal with it at all or for whatever reason. This was not a suspension. This had been reported as one, but the Saints actually only fined him and then just benched him. The difference there is that a suspension would have allowed the Saints to void his guarantees.
Yep.
I don't think, A, they want to deal with that battle with the NFLPA,
yep.
And B, I don't think they want to have more issues with Michael Thomas.
Well, and at the end of the day, it sends the same message, right? You don't get to play in a primetime game in an important game. So, I mean, they'll just, we'll pay your game check, but you're not playing. You're not going to act like this and just get away with that whatever you want, despite maybe being our most important player.
They're trying to toe this fine line of we need this guy out there, so we can't get rid of him.
But discipline matters.
But also, we can't let him just run amok. So they're trying to find that fine line. If this was a 6th-string receiver, yeah, they would have suspended him or even outright cut him.
Yep.
Now they're trying to juggle that with Michael Thomas, who I think he's very upset by the way he gets treated on social media, by the way.
Yeah,
people get just dragged
He needs to stay off Twitter. He gets a little too loud out there. Who is the biggest diva in the NFL? Let us know. Tom, I'll tee you up real quick for this
It
one.
was Jalen Ramsey, but I think he's doing better in L.A. So.
Well, it was Antonio Brown, but technically
not
he's
in the NFL. Does not count.
Does not count. Let us know. Current players only. Who is the biggest diva in the NFL? The latest Seahawks news on today's show. Damon Harrison, who was signed to the practice squad last week, doesn't look like he's going to be quite ready for Week 6.
Yeah, maybe this isn't the biggest surprise. I thought Harrison looked a little bit heavy coming into camp or into practice, but that makes sense.
Doesn't he always?
Wasn't on camp. Also, his name is Snack. He's supposed to be a big guy. Signed to the Seahawks practice squad last week. Pete Carroll said he's not quite in game shape yet. It was kind of a weird week for him by the time he got set up, and Wednesday was their walkthrough. He didn't put on pads at all last week, was in shells the entire time. Carroll said, quote, he's a big man, and he's got to get in shape before we can see him at his best. I don't think that's Carroll taking a shot at Harrison. I think that's Carroll speaking to the reality of the situation, which was kind of expected. Hey, 350-pound dudes take a couple weeks to get fully into game shape.
And we got to remember, Adam Schefter reported that he legitimately contemplated retirement, which means he may not have been working out every single day leading up to the decision to return for this season. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's Week 7, maybe it's Week 8. They'll slowly ramp him up. The good news for Seattle is, A, they're undefeated, and B, they can get by over the next couple of weeks. It's not like Snacks. It's vital for him to be ready right away.
Exactly. The Damon Harrison signing was hey, let's have this guy for November, December, for the playoff run, for the playoff push, for a Super Bowl effort there. Poona Ford, I like him quite a bit. Jaron Reed's been a bit of a disappointment. Jonathan Board actually flashed a little bit in their most recent game against the Vikings. But Harrison is not oh, my God, we have to panic. He's not ready yet. It's take some breathers. He should be fine. I'm not concerned there. He already said he didn't want to go to the Bucs. The Bucs tried to poach him. He said no. I think Harrison and Seattle are both aware this is a process. It might not come in Week 7 after the Seahawks bye, but I do think that's going to happen long term, that Seattle is going to be okay, and Harrison will make an impact, specifically as a run defender.
It's clearly a long-term play. That's why he signed with Seattle. He knows this is a team that has a chance to make a push at the Super Bowl. So that is your update on Snacks Harrison. How about this, Tom? Sticking with the Seahawks here. Russell Wilson, even odds to win NFL MVP through 5 games.
Is very rare, and I think understandably so, because he's been awesome this year for the Seahawks. Aaron Rodgers is behind him, Patrick Mahomes, then Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson as well. I have been incredibly impressed by Russell Wilson.
He's cooking.
I put my bet on him, I think it was after Week 1 when I realized, they're gonna let him cook all season.
Yep.
The odds are now really not great in terms of return on investment there.
Yeah.
But I think what we're setting up for here, Harrison, is a Wilson versus Rodgers, not only for the number 1 seed in the NFC, but for the MVP race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been fantastic. And there's a reason he's even odds, because his numbers have been by far better than anyone else's. So we'll ask you guys, will Russell Wilson win NFL MVP this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I still think it's a little early to just declare Russell Wilson as the MVP winner, but he's clearly the front runner through 5 weeks of the season.
Look, I mean, I think that the numbers here truly do just kind of speak for themselves. The production and the impact and everything that Wilson has had on this offense. He, of course, is the main reason his team is 5-0, and I've always made this point for MVP compared to just evaluating quarterbacks. MVP, I don't like using quarterback wins to define if someone is good or not. MVP, quarterback wins matter.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Russell Wilson has those right now. I think he is correctly the MVP favorite right now. I like Aaron Rodgers being the number 2 guy. The Josh Allen MVP odds took a bit of a hit because he kind of regressed against the Titans, but I think Wilson should be the MVP favorite. And in the end, Harrison, I think he does win.
That Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf connection this year, it has been absolutely unreal. How about Dalvin Cook? Looks like his status is up in the air for Week 6. Alexander Mattison looked pretty damn good last week too, Tom.
Alexander Mattison has always looked good whenever he's had a chance to get on the field. I think you might see the Vikings play it cautiously with Dalvin Cook. They just paid him. They don't want to have to deal with a whole extra problem of, hey, now what do we do? Do we try and risk this guy? Obviously, their offense is built through Dalvin Cook. That's what they want to do. In terms of neutral run-pass situations, the Vikings are running it more than any team in the NFL, but their bye is in Week 7. So you might see them, say, you know what? Let's give Cook 2 weeks. we can get by with Alexander Madison.
I'll give you another reason why I don't think he plays this week. The Falcons are bad, and that's who the Vikings play. And I know this is a must-win for Minnesota if they're still trying to win this year. But he's been really good, and he's obviously been invested in. I don't think you risk it. Madison's been solid when he's been given the opportunity. 5 yards per carry is very, very good. I thought he was good the other night. I think he would be just fine if he is pushed into duty against the Atlanta Falcons. So I would say 50-50 at best. Cook goes this week. I think the smart play, like you said, A, they play the Falcons this week. B, got the bye week. Give him a couple weeks off, and then he'll be ready to rock for the second half of the season.